Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Just thought I'd have a quick look round. Last time I watered, you know, you look at your plants a little more closely when you pick them up and hand water. And I have spotted a few things to come. Now, my Orangus fastuosa, this is a reliable bloomer, and so far it's had 2 spikes on 2 successive years. Now, I don't know how well you're going to see that, but if you look at those dark black patches, don't worry about them, just look at them. That's the 2 previous spikes, and the one underneath is the previous spikes. And if you look just to the left and the right of those dark patches, you can see the 2 new spikes just starting. Now, Orangus spikes are quite slow to grow, and as Orangus go, these are even slower. So we may not see the blooms on that till spring. I'm exaggerating, but they are quite slow. But yeah, we do have 2 spikes just starting on that one. Those are quite different blooms. It may be the style of the plant. But if you look at these Orangus blooms, this is Orangus decariana, they're delicate. Yeah, they're very light in texture. So they're delicate blooms. Whereas the blooms on the fastuosa are larger and waxy. There's far more substance to them, so they're quite a different looking bloom. I think they're almost pure white, but a creamy white with tinges of green from memory. And what else? Oh yeah, another one of the Latorias is just opening. Now the Nora Tokunaga crossed with Aberrans has virtually no colour on the front of the blooms. Just a hint of the spotting showing through on the petals and sepals, but colour on the lip is non-existent basically. It's just a creamy colour. Now that's Nora Tokunaga crossed with Aberrans. Now this is another Aberrans cross, but this is crossed with, I've forgotten, Polysema I think it is. Yeah, Polysema, so this is 2 species. And looking at it on the surface, when you look from behind, it looks incredibly similar. It's got the same sort of spotting patterns as this one on the back. But now that the blooms are open, we do have some lovely veining on the inside of this one. So, but again, small blooms. I'm keeping my eye out for some of the larger bloomed Latorias, because they are around, Spectabile and the likes of. So there are some quite large bloomed Latorias. Most of the ones I've got seem to be the smaller blooms, but then they have quite a lot of them. And either way, they last for ages, so they're out for absolutely ages. And this one here has quite a lot of spikes. It's got one here, one here, one here, one here with buds, one round the back with buds, another one over here with buds, and another one here. So that's got quite a few. And my little Latoria rhodostictum has got a spike, and it looks like there could be 2, possibly 3 blooms to come on that one. Now, for such a tiny little plant that hasn't done well this year, I must admit, it hasn't grown well. I mean, this is its only new growth. But nonetheless, it's still going to bloom. It's a reliable bloomer. It just doesn't grow as well as some of my other Latoria types. But nonetheless, blooms to come. And for the size of the plant, the blooms on here are quite large. Probably twice the size of these. So, you know, even though this is a much larger plant, this one has the larger blooms. But typical Latoria shape, skinny little cane, starting off at next to no size at all, and then a bulbous bit towards the end. They all have that similar look to them. So that's those. My Cattleya buds up there are swelling up nicely. Those are quite large blooms, and there's 4 buds, so that should be quite a nice show when that opens. Buds over there on a Cattleya, that'll be that'll be a first time bloomer. That's one of the new ones, so they're coming on. And several other Cattleyas have got sheaths with buds just starting, so they'll be a while, but you know they'll come down the line. My other bloom on the Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry has opened now, so they don't last that long. If you look at this one over here, this one's already fading, yeah? And then this one's just opened, and then I've got another one to come up here, which crept up on me. I didn't see that one for a while. It was lurking. So that's that little lot. But anyway, the point of the video, I've been asked to do a couple of talks. The talk that I did a while ago, that's sort of on the shelf. I've done it once for the Wessex Orchid Society. It seemed to go down quite well. And the same talk is booked in to do for the Bournemouth Orchid Society early next year. I think it's either January or February, something like that. Yeah, it could be February. But Wessex have asked me to do another talk for January. They've had somebody drop out of the programme. So most of you that have followed me for a while, and even some of the newer ones, it's a varied membership at Wessex. You know, you've got relative beginners there. You've got people growing in homes on windowsills, like I'm sure many of you do, and the full-blown, fully automated greenhouse growers, so and people that have been growing 40, 50 years. So it's a hell of a variety of people to put a talk out to. But have a think about some ideas for a second Orchid Society talk. It's got to be sort of 40 odd minutes, 40 to 45 minutes long, so there's got to be some substance in it. My initial idea is just to do a talk on the dendrobiums that I've got. I don't want to venture off into types of dendrobiums that I have no experience of. But in amongst mine, I've got the Phalaenopsis type, the Latoria types, what I call run-of-the-mill types. They're just dendrobiums that don't need any particular special care. And then I've got the winter resting types. So I've got a variety, and I think that might make quite an interesting talk. But anyway, see if you can come up with some ideas. It's got to be based on things that I grow. Otherwise I'm venturing off into just looking stuff up and then saying it out loud. Well, you know, anybody can do that. It'd be better to stick to stuff that I grow. And I thought dendrobiums as a topic isn't a bad one to go along with. Oh, there was some more buds. Where? My Dendrobium moniliform. These look like they're going to be buds, although this does chuck out kikis every now and again, but it does look like there's some buds coming on that one. Possibly, we shall see. It's unlikely to bloom on the latest two new growths. Those have only just matured. So effectively this one has finished growing now, but it's not a resting type. It'll just get reduced water in the winter simply because of the short days and the lower temperatures, but it's not a true resting type. Yeah, so I've got to go out today. An unusual little venture. Somebody's away on holiday and they would like me to water their orchids in their greenhouse for them, so I'm getting picked up and taken. That'll be an experience. I don't even know what flipping plants I'm going to come across. But anyway, you know, they said just do what you can on the grounds that something is better than nothing, which I'd agree with. Yeah, taking a break this time of year is not quite so bad. Certainly if I'd taken a fortnight's holiday back in that heat wave, you know, without somebody here to deal with my plants, a lot would not have made it. They just wouldn't have come out the other end. They'd have been dead. So, you know, it's all geared up to time of the year. You know, there's plenty of places you can go for some winter sun and leave your orchids for a week and not have anybody look after them. Still, but see if you can come up with some ideas for me. You know, all ideas are appreciated, some more practical than others, but you know, have a think. And the other talk I've been asked to do is at a horticultural society, and they want a talk. I don't know how long it needs to be or how elaborate. I don't even know if they've got any kit, you know, like, you know, projectors and things like that. I've still got to find out. But that's quite local to me, not too far to travel, and they just want to talk on how to look after the sort of orchids that you get as presents. You know, so they're on about Phalaenopsis mainly, I would think. So, you know, we can have a talk about, you know, getting them home, looking after them and feeding them, watering them, you know, or waiting till the blooms fade and throwing them away and going and buying another one, which, as we all know, is the business model. You know, that's the way those mass-produced Phalaenopsis are looked at from the business end. You know, they bloom for 2 or 3 months. You haven't paid a huge amount of money for them. If you think if you bought a bunch of roses, you'd be lucky to get a fortnight out of them, and then you throw them away. So the throwaway mentality has arrived for orchids, certainly in the Phalaenopsis ranges anyway. Unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, they sort of think, well, the plant looks healthy, I wonder if I can keep it alive and get it to flower again. And therein lies your doom. You are hooked. And then you become an orchid grower. And then that's it. All your other spare time goes out the window then. That's the path many of us take. Anyway, I'll see you next time. This is just a quick chat really, but have a think about some subjects for talks, because I seem to be like being included now. So, you know, I'll have to come up with a variety. I can't do the same one over and over again, obviously. And they do take a while to put together. So, you know, ideas as soon as possible for the one I've got to do in January, which needs to be new. You know, that needs to be a different topic. And the one thing that I've learnt from my previous talk is the previous talk I tried to cram too much in. And it goes at breakneck speed. You know, take a breath, you'll miss a bit sort of thing. So this one I need to do at a much more leisurely pace. So, you know, it won't need so much content. As I say, a much more leisurely pace this time round. That way I get to take a breath as well. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.